Good evening, listeners. A few weeks have passed since the occupation of Pantelleria, and only 2 months since the end of the Tunisian campaign, in which our chosen general Dwight Eisenhower was able to prove his skills. He is indeed now leading the Allies on the coast of Sicily. Thanks to the help of the Task Force 141 and the collaboration of more than 1,800,000 men among Americans and British, we are now landing in Sicily. On July 9, 1943, fascism will finally come to an end.
The voice was far away and troubled. It seemed to float on a stormy sea, and what he said about the war, about fascism, about Hitler, seemed quite reasonable, true enough.
So in Racalmuto, a small town about 20 kilometers from the Sea of Porto Empedocle and a little more for the Sea of Licata, a few hours before the Allied forces set foot on the Sicilian beaches, fascism ended. It's not possible to understand to the juxtaposition of country elements of everyone felt the precise warning of the hour that was about to strike. They felt it, that's all.
Those who lingered to enjoy the cool night gust of wind saw the sky become brighter. It seems that the moon had crashed into the seashore. Then it continued to burn with its calm white fire. The horizon began to germinate fast, luminous stalks, spheres of light, colored water lilies, rainbow. You could hear an astonished and suspended murmur in the deep darkness of the night, and occasionally, when variously and vividly colored light exploded, the cry of amazement and joy of the children. It was like the vision of a distant party, and its distant roar also came.
Then turned off the light. The sky began to vibrate with the roar of an airplane. Mermaids and hummingbirds announced the emergency, and it vanished. The town became empty like a shell. People locked in their homes, the shops half shut, as when a funeral procession passes. A murmur of expectation, of anxiety. But the Americans did not come. Only on the 13th or 15th, it was known that the invasion forces were entering the internal area.
Soldiers walked under sun into glutted churches with your long stride, handguns weight on your belt. Your bright eyes brushed her windows. Your red words chewed in chewing gum grated or wine. Tired harlots leaning on night arcades. Shoots bloomed into squares empty as shells. You were the footed lancer who dragged the heavy burns through almond and olive trees. The cowboy called to Europe's dust and blood, a fallen angel, an outward meet through streets of death and trouble.
We felt like in a cinema that the vision arose from a screen and magically penetrated into reality. Soldiers were in the street. They had black glasses and long rifles. They looked drunk. They looked around and took nervous puffs of smoke. Glasses became vermilion-colored, and they were offered with sweet violence to the soldiers, who refused them. They threw cigarettes into the fray. Someone triggered the camera.
Among the many photographs that the reporters of the American and British newspapers took during the Sicilian campaign in the summer of 1943, two are particularly memorable for me. One is from Robert Capa for show, the other probably. The first photo, an old, bearded, heavily dressed shepherd pointing the way to an American soldier. We know that he is showing him the right path. To the villager, to his friend, to the rich relative commanded by his good president to come to Sicily to make a good and just war.
The second photo. A group of Italian soldiers surrender in the square of Troina. Never seen such a surrender. The soldiers with their hands raised moving towards the Americans, who are not seen, but without sadness or worry, these defeated soldiers of ours, smiling indeed, as if to say, yes, okay, we are playing this comedy of surrender, but soon we will have breakfast in the stable with these friends of ours who have won us. They are Americans, aren't they? A little to the side, there are a man and a girl from the village. They look with curiosity, but without fear, towards the American patrol that cannot be seen in the photograph. Certainly, the soldiers have their rifles aimed at those others who are moving towards them, unarmed. But the man and the girl are sure that not a shot will go from these guns.
We in Sicily were waiting for the Americans, those new fields causing children friends, whom we had never seen and who came from Alpha, loaded with American will and power.
The Americans, the uncles and the nephews, the cousin of America, who had always said, among the slip of letters, relatives of the parish price, the $5 or $10 bill.
Children, grandchildren, but almost all grandchildren, of those immigrants landed in Sicily. In the night from 9 to 10 July, the first to land on the Sicilian coast between Gela and Licata were the soldiers of the Texan Division. 2 out of 5 soldiers had the Sicilian origin and spoke the dialect, an old dialect of at least 50 years, preserved as in vitro, and full of obscenities and blasphemies, children of those derelicts of half a century early.
They had brought books to distribute to the population. William Sawyer, Human Comedy, Science Breed and Wild, The American Constitution. Said she had written the beginning of the 914-918, were found readers from all over the world had banned of Russian novels.
And the new beginning of the new war in 1939 found them with their hands bowed to American short story and novels. But it wasn't just the literature. There was the kinship, the history, the cinema, and the freedom and the freedom.
But though they talk us, and there is not only the step here, the villager and the soldier who happily surrounded. There are used to in the 20s white meat of America that did not come cued from relatives and friends, but from passionate readings, in which Vittorini and Pavese are in each other us, by Faulkner, by Hemingway, by Steinbeck, by Caldwell, by Sorainen. What do you think of America? Asked the title of a book by Sarah Ryan, translated with Lynn.
From freedom to democracy, the New Deal, the frontier of the New World was our answer.